questions.
It's not a really good question, but it's sort of like a request for confirmation or feedback or whatever. I discovered a really interesting, for me, contemplation, which is the difference, to contemplate the difference between the so-called pink bubble happiness, that's driven by objects, the attainment of an object, and the happiness that is endemic to the self. So if I can, because I noticed most of my life, I didn't think there was any other kind of happiness besides the object level happiness. So upon discovering this deeper happiness, my contemplation is to see how much richer and less dependent upon the coming and going that the actual. So I am now contemplating that and looking to fuel this sense of the true happiness so that I can no longer be following the tendency to look for things in the world, all kinds of objects, and seeing the relative emptiness of that, or the relative passingness, the very relative nature of it, in comparison to what's actually here already. So I think that a lot of what you're pointing to is that. So the more you kind of point to that, the more helpful that is for me, is to see that there is this happiness that's already there,
Right.
and to rest in that instead of following all the pink bubbles as they call them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like a ripening of a fruit. The perfume of the fruit emanates with the ripening of the fruit effortlessly. So the fruit does nothing to emanate the perfume of the ripeness. No? So having said that, yes, there is a discrimination that occurs in the exploration that reveals the impermanent, what you refer to as the pink bubble happiness, and of course the other side of the coin, the very dark labyrinth of suffering and misery, which comes hand in hand with attaining and losing, gain and loss. There is a discrimination that sort of also ripens. There's a ripening discrimination in one's life, in one's experience. There is a discernment of the unhappiness of pursuit, of pursuing objects, pursuing happiness in objects, versus the natural relaxation and inherent happiness and bliss and peace of the self. So you do not need to do anything in that recognition. The recognition comes to you. There is a clarity that there is a path that is effortless. It's rather a path of non-resistance rather than a path of doing. It's a path of recognizing the peace that is inherent in the stillness that is already the quality of stillness. That is not the result of any activity of the mind. So you do not need to really fuel anything. It's done of itself anyway. Just stay out of the way. Be clear about what path is miserable. It starts from a sense of lack, starts from the impression of incompleteness. Then you can effortlessly rest in presence. And the identification fades away and dissolves in that resting. Because the self, meaning consciousness, the absolute, is not an identity. Identities are constantly in need of management, constantly in need of plans and thought and strategies. Keep on improving on the strategy. And that whole realm of finding happiness for the person is connected to the mind projecting a person. There is a projection, an identification as a person that comes hand in hand with a pursuit of an imagined external happiness for an imagined internal person. It's very complicated. At some point, a certain degree of going along with your understanding. There is a certain clarity that initially it comes in tiny glimpses and intervals. But these glimpses, they alter the patterns. Unbeknown to the mind, it's a sort of a stealth attack. So you live by your understanding. You favor your understanding rather than the old belief systems and old patterns. And you, as needed, recollect the effortless peace of presence. And it certain extent, to a certain degree, you trust that. We've trusted the mind long enough, and we know the roller coaster ride that is, and the misery of the sense of separation. So over and over you gaze over the scene that is a happy scene, that is a lovely scene. Whenever the shadow of ignorance arises, you don't take it to the next level. You don't cater to it as you're catering to the separate self, as you're catering to me the person, me this woman, me this man. You are maintaining that impression of limitation, which at the feeling level is an unhappy, contracted state. And the peace and tranquility of the self is always calling you because you know it. You know peace and happiness. It is our true nature. It is calling you. But when you cater to the person, you're catering to a pursuit of happiness out there, away from the self-eternal, away from consciousness.
Does that apply to even the perceived needs of the person? Let's say a person feels like they need a certain amount of, validation or affection, or, because the body needs food, and isn't it sort of the same? I don't know, it's just the mind is coming up with these things about, well, the next question then is, if one is focused on the self with the capital S, then what about the needs of the body?
Yeah.
Or do those just get fulfilled naturally through
Absolutely.
life, the unfolding of life, without there being a doingness that says,
yeah,
here, there's this person over here, and the person needs X?
No. There is intelligence to the organism that's inherent in the cell, at the cellular level, at the atom level, across the board. There is intelligence into the trees and the elements and the weather, and that is part of this manifest flow. There is life and death at that realm, at the level of the mind level. But to favor a certain phenomenal event over another, that is a mind activity, you see. And there is a natural draw, a natural calling of the self towards beauty, love, and happiness, and joy, and openness, and humor, and intelligence. That is effortless. It's like the flow from the source. It does not travel through the mind. That basically, the mind I refer by the mind as ignorance, the personal mind that says, well, if this and that occurs, then I will be happy. But if that and that occurs, I will be unhappy. So there is intelligence at the body-mind level that caters to the body-mind. Food, shelter, and clothing, the need for social grouping, affection, the whole dimension of the socialization aspect of consciousness. All that is available, inherent. It's been built into the system. Does not require the me. It doesn't require the me. It's a natural, available quality that consciousness design in the system. What the separate self does is puts sticks in the wheels, in a way, of consciousness. Says, oh no, this but not that. See? So this and not that. When you say this and not that, you've separated. Yes. You bringing in a new boss, the me, thought. You're saying now thought is is now running the show. But thought is generated by yourself. So now you have an additional task, which is you have to run everything by thought. Wait a minute, what do you think? Is this going to get me more if I go that way, or is that going to get me more? So, but thought is limited and is conditioned. It's repeating. It's repeating. Yeah, it's a mechanistic process. Yeah, I'm not talking about creative thought or about artistic thought. I'm talking about the thought that's connected to the me, to the separate self, is learned, is taught, is conditioned. It's a repeating. It basically starts with the assumption that I am a mortal body-mind and I need happiness in relationships, in situations, in circumstances, in the world, in things, in other. So right off from the onset, that thought, which is the me thought, which I refer to as ignorance, is flawed. And so anything that you run through thought, if you run your decision making through thought, you are imbuing your activity with the flaw of ignorance.
But how do you do anything without thinking about it?
How did you speak right now? How do you hear right now? How did you move your hands right now? How about the smiling right now? Yes? How about breathing right now?
I guess I was referring to like more work or things that you have to think about.
Well, there is certain mechanistic thought that is effortless in a way. It's sort of like you're driving your car, okay, you're heading to satsang, and you're on the road. There are 3 lanes, or some cars in the left lane. There is somebody in front of you that's slowing down. The right lane is available. Whoever is in front of you is going at 30 miles per hour. It's a 55 mile per hour speed limit. So you move to the right because it's available. It's open. So if you refer to that as thinking, that's also available. That intelligence is already available. So there is a certain ability of the organism to learn. So we learn red light you stop, green light you go. We learn languages, we learn certain social ethics in certain cultures. They differ from culture to culture, but we learn them. That's built into the capacity of the organism. That doesn't require you to be a you. It's already a gift, let's say, from consciousness. It's consciousness basically manifesting itself, which is the intelligence of consciousness, which is the wisdom of consciousness, which is the ability to discerning. See, there's a certain visual field. We know when we're coming too fast onto traffic, we kind of perceive that. Which actually, when the me is on board, in a way it interferes with that.
It's like thinking of steps that you're taking if you're walking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thinking about it and stuff.
Yeah. So your life is a laboratory. The questions that you're asking, you can test them in your daily life. It's very beautiful to test in your daily life. Is it possible for me to be at work in relationships just out of the purity of presence? the freshness, the innocence, the creative presence. You're sort of witnessing it, you are it, and you're witnessing it simultaneously in a not knowing, an unknowing quality, not knowing quality of purity and innocence. That when you are identified as a body-mind, then there is a contraction, which is the virus of mortality is on board. Oh my God, what is going to happen to me? They said this and that to me. How safe am I going to be now that they say that to me?
Yeah, or this situation happened, or that situation happened, what's going to become
Of me.
Yeah.
It's going to become of me.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as there is a me on board, is a shadow, it's unhappy. It's an infection, a viral infection. And in ignorance, we believe that that's what we are the me. And that is no other way of being, but to be a me and catering to the me and dealing with the me and hoping that the me will be okay and etc. The whole travail of the separate self. And from the thought that is identified, that perceives consciousness as a mortal body mind, it is always going to have the same message. The message being, yes, you are this body mind. Because that's what this thought is. That's what ignorance is this belief. So when you go to that, when you go to me to check about what's the story of me is going to say, hey, what are you talking about? Me is me. It's weird. I'm the reality. I am the body. I'm mortal. You saw your great grandfather died. Nehru died. It will come out. It will come with arguments that are starting with the conclusion. You have to examine that. Thought of ignorance starts its argument with the conclusion that I am a mortal body mind, that consciousness is limited to this person, that consciousness is personal. It starts with that assumption. It's not inquiry. It's not in inquiry. So inquiry is not the mind that really inquire. Inquiry comes from the self. And the self sort of coax the mind. Is that the right word? It coax the mind to participate. Yeah? Coaxes the mind to participate. Because the self is the reality, and the mind is sort of the.
So it's that tugging, it's like a pull and tug. I mean, it's just constantly going like this.
Well,
it feels like, at least that's how it feels to me sometimes.
Yeah.
I go in and out of it.
Yeah. What are you going in and out of right now?
Well, I'm more in than out at the moment.
In what?
In being present, I'm right here. I know that I'm right here right now. So when I described it in and out, I'm describing past experiences.
You don't do much past. Don't
Well,
don't do.
yesterday,
Don't
earlier.
do. Let it go. Because you won't find anything there. It's shades and shadows, stories, memories. We give them importance, and what for? They don't deliver anything. They deliver an in and out story. True. Who cares about an in and out story? It's like, am I in or am I out? So let it go. Let go of in and out. Being doesn't require your assistance. It is. I am. It's more of a relaxation, not to bypasses the mind. It's nothing that you need to do. It's just very beautiful. But there is this sense of it, this sense of the presence. Jean Klein refers it as of a, not a feeling, A-F-O-R-E, a for feeling. A for feeling. It's not a feeling, it's a for feeling. He refers that to use that term, a for feeling. Yes? Have you?
Before, he's trying to say like a before.
For feeling.
But there's a word, that is a word, I think, too.
It's a, yeah, a for feeling. It's an apperception of presence, of beingness. It's peace. It's peace and happiness. It's the relaxed state. It's not really a state. It's a relaxation. It's one of the qualities of consciousness is the borderless openness, the transparency. So whatever goes in and out that's in the mind, at the mind level. At the mind level, yeah? So when you acknowledge that, you're acknowledging the mind. And you think, okay, well, wait a minute. Am I 70-30 or 60-40 or 80-20? You see? It's still yes. But it's unnecessary. It's not necessary. Because beingness, presence, is effortless. And the mind is not invited to the party. The mind surrenders to it, dissolves in it.